What's going on, savages? Let's start off with a picture of pure power. There it is. Pure power. I'm going to set you down, but I will answer Lambdog's video. Of course, the general problem with things like this, I mentioned the radical youth, or your children are the new pedagogues. It's easy to complain. It's somewhat easy to come up with solutions. It's fairly difficult to implement properly in a lasting way. And the lasting way, I would say it's extremely hard to make that stick in a way that's truly meaningful, unless it's kind of methodically done for decades on end, kind of like the cultural Marxism was in the first place that got us to this point. That being the case, I am willing to entertain the philosophy of the how would you fix things. To me, it seems not easy, but it would be if you did have access and control to help shape the minds and hearts and spirits of these kids, young adults, even, whatever, 20s or late 20s, early 30s, whoever acts like this young radical that I'm talking about. It's a theoretical group. Education. I would toss out Common Core and replace it with common sense, like immediately. If you look at the work that these kids are bringing home, an ex of mine, one of the only gals I've had long term that had kids, seeing that Common Core material was it was offensive, outlandish, and disturbing. It sucked. Why are you doing math like that? And not just math. It was almost all the subjects, let alone the level of sensitivity and the lowering of accountability, and not just the everybody gets a trophy thing. I would direct these kids through school, through degrees and training, like trade schools, etc., on stuff that the economy wants, and base the scholarships on things that the economy needs. And if you want to go to school for tantric sex in Bulgaria and you want a PhD in that, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. And we may not have a loan for you either. A logic focused and a non-political environment for education would be a great help. Diet, I watched Backwoods and the Lambdoggery videos, and diet means a great deal. I would put into that, obviously, input and output. We'd have to include exercise in not just the exercise and physical education necessary. There's a stagnation, and the more online activities become a part of our lives, that stagnation will be something we have to fight more and more. So these generations are victims of that. Pardon me, I kind of have a cold, by the way, which is weird in the summertime. But I'm trying to think on how you reshape the minds of the youth. You have to discourage any non-parental unit, like mother, father, guardian, grandma, or whatever, from having political influence or political say, or making political drones out of kids. And that could be a Bible school, or it could be a purple-haired teacher in a metro school. Recent story that came up, it was like, some teacher of the year in Tennessee, and she was going to quit because things were so bad or whatever the case may be. And I just looked up curiously that school district, and right now, gosh, I forget the city off the top of my head. This metro school district is very big. From 3rd to 8th grade, less than half of those kids are proficient in even one subject. They're proficient in 0 subjects. That needs to change. Diet and exercise are definitely kind of come together and play a part there. You take these people on a nice slow tour of like Sudan and Somalia and Cambodia and Haiti and Syria, and you show them that the car that your daddy and your mommy bought for you. Yeah, that person would have to work 30 years to get that done. Let that sink in. Getting people in general, but this radicalized youth, getting them in touch with nature, like flora and fauna. I mean, not just like lions at the zoo, and not just a botany degree through STEM, but getting them in touch with nature. I think one of the stupid, goofy things I've seen in the progressive movement is some of the construction pushes forward through, quote unquote green buildings, and like making kind of nice little natural features, and it looks cooler, and it works out a little better. And believe it or not, I have a bunch of certifications from Kansas State University on that type of stuff. I almost forget that sometimes when I go to write down any work history or something like that. I would put these people kind of like I was, like, to work in the community when you're a kid. I started before it was legal, but whether through volunteering or a little business or something like that, would give them a work permit when they're 14 or something like that, put them in Arby's, Wendy's, Walmart, and get them to work. If not just volunteering, give them some alternative, non-online stuff. Just think about what you did in the 90s, whether it was volleyball, roller skate, basketball, little night events with church people, or I don't know, it wouldn't be long before you come up with a list with 350 things that these kids want to do that aren't online. Not that gaming and texting 40 million times is all bad, but you know what I mean. But one of the most important things, I think, besides that context and perspective, and give them the old escape mental Mike, what the fuck do you know about violence, and give them education on what communism really did, and show them what 40 million dead people looks like, and the horrors of all this stuff, and not Lame Duck's Teacher, where you spend half the year teaching this bullshit, and then half the year teaching our modern system, but teach them the actual horrors, and that includes our own history. And I'm not against the left, making sure kids are educated on all the bad stuff, but you really have to not have a bunch of highly political teachers in there. You have to give them hope. You have to give them good examples that are like offline success, and there's maybe some perspective on nerds are kind of cool again, or not again, maybe for the first time ever, for God's sakes. But you'd have to teach them so much, and outside of just focusing on one kid, like raising your child, it's so difficult. But as a whole, that's my solution. So good week to all. Savage out.